locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogdon.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogdon. Well, wouldn't it be great if you could get more love and more money and have more intimate relationships with the people that you love? Today's expert is really going to help dial that in for us. I am speaking today with intimacy expert Allana Pratt. She is a global media personality who awakens open-hearted, unapologetic living after heartbreak. Her own custody battle inspired vulnerability. It inspired her to be more vulnerable, and courage that landed her a featured weekly column on the GoodMenProject, featured as an icon of influence and as guest expert on Huffington Post, People magazine, Forbes, the Jenny McCarthy Show, among other national media. She is an Ivy League grad, and she is the author of 4 top-selling books. She has interviewed Whoopi Goldberg, Alanis Morissette, and Dr. Seigel, and hosts the edgy podcast Intimate Conversations, where listeners learn how to find the relationship they deserve. A certified coach, Allana was asked by Leeza Gibbons to coach her doing Dancing with the Stars. She has 4.5 million viewers on YouTube, and Allana is the go-to authority. When struggling to trust again after heartbreak, she offers private coaching and retreats to support her clients and to have thriving, intimate relationships with themselves first, which naturally attracts their ideal partnerships. Wow, I can't wait to find out more about who you are and what you do. Allana Pratt, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
I love this already. You are such a great host. Your radio voice is just so inspiring to me. I love it. And I'm really grateful that we get to go deep today. That real intimate conversation that normally happens under the hood, under the surface, those things that are taboo or a little shameful or wobbly to talk about. I really want to make it safe, like a beautiful sanctuary to get real together, to help people have more love, more money, and intimate connection. So thank you so much, Ralph.
I'm really looking forward to this. I think I could probably benefit from it because for some reason I'm getting tongue-tied over this idea of vulnerability. It's hard for me to say. Maybe it's hard for me to practice because we've all been wounded. We've all been hurt in the past. And so we put up walls, and maybe it comes out in a Freudian way where I can't pronounce the word vulnerability. I sound like Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd or something. So maybe that's revealing something that you can help us with. But first, tell us a little bit about how did you get started? Tell us about your own private battle that got you to where you are today, where you're helping others.
Well, you're certainly not alone with vulnerability, and I certainly had a lot of trouble with it myself. I have been married twice and divorced twice, and I realized the only one in common was me. So it was time to do some inner work. And as I was looking inside, what I saw with my first marriage was that I was looking for approval. All of my worth was based on, do you like me? Am I good enough? And of course, that's such a shaky ground to start a relationship on, that marriage was about 6 years of a relationship and it was over. When it came to the second marriage, my mother was dying of cancer. And instead of keeping my heart open in a very scary time, I closed it and I became kind of like a masculine woman. And I'm like, okay, do you have a checkbook? Do you have a pulse? Let's do this. Let's have a marriage. Let's have a kid. Let's just replace this relationship that I was about to lose. And I know that's not a very enlightened way of going about it, but at the time it was the best I could do. So I didn't make a heart open, intuitive, wise choice. And that too ended in a divorce, but that wasn't it. It turned into a 12-year custody battle. I must have humiliated him by saying, of course I'm in this forever. And then after a year divorcing him, that the revenge to get back at me was just to take our child away from me. And so after pouring all of my savings into the legal bills, selling my house to pay for the legal bills, then I was in $250,000 of debt and devastated financially, emotionally, spiritually. So I just gave up and I said, fine, I'll take 35%. You win. And what I learned through that process was a lot. I learned that, to keep your heart open in the face of anything, to derive your sense of worth from the inside out, not to give your power away to another's opinion of you. I grew, but there was still a sliver left, kind of like on the hero's journey, right before you think the hero's going to win. Dun, 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 dun. And my son, who at this point then was 6'1", he's now 6'4", but he arrived in the driveway with Dad. And he said, Dad's right. You're crazy. I'm living with him. And he proceeded to take all of his stuff, the new guitar that I had just bought him, his bear that he's had since he was 1 week old, took all of his stuff and they drove off. And I was just devastated because that last little shred of, well, the court didn't believe me. And some of my friends turned against me. And my ex certainly doesn't like me, but my son does, and in brackets, because I'm good enough. Yeah. Right. I was still putting my worth in my son's love of me or our relationship. And when that went away, there was nowhere to go but rock bottom on my knees. So I had a planned nervous breakdown. I went out into a cabin in the middle of nowhere and I did my deep inner work. And I found the part of me inside, the little Allana, the little you inside me, inside my heart, who didn't think she was good enough, who was ashamed, who was always seeking approval. And I learned how to heal her and bring her home so that she was no longer afraid of rejection, no longer seeking her worth in another's approval. And we could call that state home, coherence, harmony. My heart opened again. I forgave my son. He's doing his best. His whole life was spent in court and social services and horrible experiences. He's just doing his best, as is my ex, just doing his best. And I'm going to use the whole situation for me, not against me, to grow. And isn't it interesting, after that happened, it was about 5 months of not hearing from my son, and he called. And I'm absolutely clear that the energy I was emitting, that we are vibrational creatures, that energy of forgiveness and doing my own inner work led to now, it's been about 3 years since then, we have a really strong relationship. He's still living full time with his dad. He actually thinks he's protecting me because he's accurate. There's been no court since he's lived with his dad. And I am now debt-free, thriving in my business, making an even bigger difference on the planet, and having to just stand heart open that my motherhood doesn't look like most motherhoods, but it's still good and true and right for me and my soul.
What a powerful journey. And I think you're right. That is a hero's journey. And it's a great example of someone taking their mess and turning it into a message, which is what you've done in a powerful way with your global brand and also with your private coaching and retreats to help support your clients. It triggers the question, why do we look for validation and approval to everybody else? Why was that something that you struggled with? Was it something in your childhood, something in your past, or is it something that we all have to overcome and deal with?
I don't know if it's all, but it's certainly a lot of us. We are taught that we get praise, we get love, we get attention if we are seen, not heard, if we get an A on the test, if we look a certain way, if our bodies look a certain way. So we're so often taught from the outside in, not the inside out, in order to get love and attention. So we start to get miswired and we misunderstand that our worth is our achievements, when in fact our worth is inherent from the inside out. But when our heart gets wounded and we're not these open-hearted, radiant, effervescent lights of giving our purpose on the planet, when we shut our heart, the only place to go is up to the head, spinning in the head with fears and doubts and afraid of rejection, even afraid of dying alone. And we look on the outside to fill up, getting someone's attention and approval and appreciation, getting the money, getting the big house, getting the small butt, getting the big ring on the finger, whatever it is on the outside, in order to, that's the little catchphrase, in order to rest in order to feel enough. That's the red flag. Noticing that you have this anticipation until you finally get something and then you rest. But the truth is you really don't rest all the way because you got to keep it and you got to maintain it and you got to strategize and have an agenda not to lose it. So you actually never do rest. But when you do the opposite, when you begin to look on the inside, when you begin to open the heart again and come into coherence and harmony with your soul on the inside, what happens is you learn unconditional love. See, conditional love is easy. When you look good and do it right, I love you. But that's conditional, right? Unconditional is going inside, and I found little Allana, who was very ashamed, terrified, and humiliated. And I had to learn to love her as she was, even if she never changed, ever. That's unconditional. And that requires a deep compassion and allowance and a coming home. It's really a very high level living of consciousness and enlightenment to actually love and to accept and allow your wobbly parts just as much as your triumphant parts. But when you do, the confidence is something that no one and no circumstance can ever take away. And then you're an actual resonating, like a vibration of that level of unconditional love. And while, a bright light attracts, everybody, your vibration will be able to finally attract a like match, someone who else has done their work, who's gone inside. You'll have such the vibration to attract each other, but also the awareness and the gratitude that, wow, you did your work too. We've both been through the fire and we've both risen as phoenixes, and we can now share and appreciate each other and our lives together.
Very powerful. And I think that a lot of people go into a marriage and they're looking for that other person to complete them, to fill in a void that is in their life. And the challenge with that is often they are looking for the same thing, and you're looking externally for someone to be something that they can't be and they're not designed to be. And that's why very often these relationships fail. It's very interesting as I think back to my childhood and just being in school, for example, and that's where a lot of the learned behavior comes from. But I remember back in the day, probably in grade school or middle school, and all of the kids in class had Levi jeans. And I didn't have Levi jeans. I had something else. And so maybe that was it. Yeah. And, but whatever it was, they were not Levi's. And so, that was, it seems like such a small thing now, but I still remember it so many decades later. And I remember, purchasing my first or getting my parents purchasing and giving to me my first pair of Levi jeans. And I thought, well, now I have achieved what I need to achieve in order to be approved and accepted by everybody else. And so I wore my new Levi's to school. And the first thing one of the kids says is, "Oh, your Levi's are ugly." Oh. And then I thought, So it really, I learned, I guess that was kind of a blessing in disguise, because I realized at that point, it doesn't matter what you do, what hoops you jump through, you're never going to satisfy people like that. So I stopped trying and I started being my own person.
Nice.
And still struggle. And because I think we all want that approval and that acceptance and we want attention and we want affection. But I really resonate with this idea of unconditional love compared to conditional. And most of what we give and receive is conditional. You do for me, I do for you. And that's kind of a learned behavior. Tell us what you do with your clients. How do you help them to break through that vicious cycle and learn to unlock who they really are on the inside and be open-hearted and be unconditional when they've been through so many hurts and so much pain in the past?
Yeah. Well, first, we choose to take full responsibility for everything that happened. We're not going to be victims here. Life isn't happening to us. We are the makers of our reality. And so from the point of view that all of these lessons that might make you feel demoralized or humiliated or not enough are really invitations to grow, for something inside of you to emerge. I'm not saying it's going to be fun or easy. It's going to take a lot of courage, but that everything indeed is for you, not against you. So that's a really powerful presupposition to start the whole journey with. The second thing is just to forgive others, that everyone's doing their best. They're acting according to their values. That doesn't condone their, cruel behavior, but just to understand that everyone is doing their best. Then I take them through first a cognitive understanding of what's going on, and then the deep transformational subconscious quantum psychology processes that I've been trained in. And the understanding is this: when a trauma occurs, and a trauma doesn't need to be humongous. It can be that your Levi's are ugly.
Right.
It's something that you can't process in the moment. It's just too much. That gets lodged in your being with 4 elements. There's the image, the thought, the emotion, and the body sensation. That is how that experience gets lodged inside of you and stuck over time. Now, most people are quite clever. They have the idea that, thought, right? Okay, so I'm just going to do 10 more affirmations. My Levi's are cool. I'm cool. If I say that enough times, I'm going to feel better. And you kind of do temporarily, but it's not lasting healing and transformation. We could call it improvement or relief, but not lasting change. Maybe you try another angle, the images. I have a vision board. I am so hot in my Levi jeans. Look at me. I am like super hot. And I'm fully self-expressed, and you've got all these pictures of you on beaches with beloveds and on stages and all the rest of it. And again, doing that will make you feel better. But again, it's not enough for transformation and lasting change. Maybe you go to the emotions and you're like, I just need to have a big cry about this. You maybe get really angry and then really sad and just let all my emotions through me. That'll, again, that's great. Have a good cry. Maybe dance around to some heavy metal music and, hit the pillow with a baseball bat, whatever, get it out. But it's not going to create lasting change. And then lastly, the body sensation. Maybe you do some somatic healing or some tapping. And again, wonderful relief can occur. But what people come to me, my clients, time and time again, is I've tried all these different things and nothing's working. Why will this? Aha, perfect question. Because I am a masterful coach. I've been at this for 18 years, but I'm also a humble student. I'm always studying. I personally have 3 coaches right now, and I just got 2 new certifications last year. I'm a voracious student. And my last certification was teaching me about the way the brain works, that there are processes that I can put all those 4 elements together. Again, the image, the thought, the emotion, the body sensation. I can take someone through in less than an hour, a process where I can literally integrate all elements and literally lasting transform all of it into a new state. Now, remember, we can't create or destroy energy, only change it. It can only, shift or change. So we're going from a low vibration of pain, frustration, shame, anger, sadness. And through these quantum psychology processes, we come out the other side as understanding, wisdom, strength, compassion. There's an actual capacity that emerges that they can take into their life. And from that higher vibrational coherence and harmony and point of view, they can look upon that initial circumstance that happened that used to be traumatic. And then now, from this new integrated point of view, they see the lesson. They have literally not just analyzed the lesson, they've embodied the lesson. They're literally vibrating at the lesson. And this opens the heart even more. And so as we go through some of the big kahunas, the big enchiladas, the big traumas, if you go for the biggest, like dominoes, all the smaller ones just fall away effortlessly. And people experience this, oh my God, I've had no dates in 3 months, and all of a sudden there's 4 guys calling me. What is going on? I'm like, yeah, hello. I've been at this job and I've been trying to prove myself, and I just got a promotion. I did a speech and I said I would do it for free, but they made all this extra money, so they sent me a check for $2,000. Like, that's what happened to me this week, Ralph. Like, what? Thank you.
Yeah.
So the magical synchronicities begin to happen in the areas of love, vocation, finances, and life becomes more enjoyable. But here's, I think, the biggest gift of all is that you finally get to rest all the way home into a place of safety and security, approval and appreciation on the inside, that all the seeking and grasping and needing and wanting and trying on the outside never produced. You come home into oneness with yourself and the divine, and you know you matter, and you know you belong, and you don't need anything to prove it. It's just truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very powerful. And it's counterintuitive, isn't it? Because we think because we've been hurt, if we open ourselves up and become vulnerable again, we're just going to be hurt worse. And so people tend to close themselves off. But what you're saying is we are transformed by opening our hearts, and that actually we then find a place of safety and security that we could never have found by closing ourselves off.
Totally. And you bring up a really good point, Ralph, because even though now your heart is open, you're experiencing this coherence and harmony with the field, with the universe, and you're feeling so much better, and the struggle and pain is over, and the joy and connection and the money and the love is there, there's still jerks out there.
Yeah.
There's still someone's going to, cut you off in traffic, or your child's going to come home with a D, or come home with the police, or Lord knows, right? Something's still going to happen. It's called life. There's always equal struggle and equal pain all the time. There's always equal beauty, and equal struggle or challenge. That's the way life works. So once you get to this place of heart openness, I teach, and it's like Aikido, the ancient practice martial art of Aikido, where when the enemy is coming, you don't resist. You actually lean in and you become one with the enemy, and you turn and you see things from the enemy's point of view, and then you place the enemy on the floor. So I have this funny little thing I do with my clients. Hoi-ya, hoi-ya. This is Alana's little move. And I'm like, oh, so someone wants to say your Levi's are ugly. You receive that. And then you hoi-ya. You put that energy down on the floor. You don't resist it, or it sticks, right? You don't justify and prove. You don't make yourself wrong. You just lean in with this open, brave, courageous, vulnerable heart. You receive what's coming. Oh, nah, I don't think I like that. That's fine. Hoi-ya. Put it down on the ground. And you just keep standing there and you go, don't think I'm going to hang out with that person. They don't uplift, contribute. They're not caring and kind to me. I think I'll hang out with somebody else. But it doesn't need to be this big drama.
Yeah.
You don't need to lose your energy and give your power away. You don't need to close your heart.
But it is okay to separate yourself from those people. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional allowing people to beat you up and make your life misery. Yeah. No, you get to choose, and please wisely choose. Who are the 5, 6 people you hang out with the most? Are they a contribution to you? Do they see the real you? Do they believe in you? Do they actually listen without trying to fix or change? Do you feel understood? Are you better from being with them? And are they better from being with you? Is the whole greater than the sum of the parts with the people you hang out with the most? You're in charge. So you get to choose, create. And if they're not, then ask the question, what's it going to take for me to have those 6 contributory people in my life? Who do I need to be? What do I need to end? What do I need to step into? What do I need to say? Where do I need to go? Ask the questions, because you can have that. Everybody can have that. You can create that. Very powerful. And as we fix our inner self, then what you're saying is that we're able then to have thriving, intimate relationships with others because we are having a thriving, intimate relationship with ourselves. We love ourselves.
Bingo.
We value ourselves. And so we are then able to come into a relationship as giving instead of taking.
Yes. And isn't that sexy? Right?
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't like that, right?
It's irresistible because you don't need something. So people don't feel used. It's quite delightful and nourishing to be with you. I mean, I'm a piece of work. I've been a hot mess for a long time. So I know this work works. And I know from the results in my client, this work works. And the ideal partnership where there's an ease and a grace shows up The job that doesn't even feel like a job, you love it so much, shows up, or you create it, out of nothing. And the support to do so shows up. When you're in that place, your life really begins to work. But that doesn't mean there aren't times of struggle or challenge, but you just have a completely different point of view about it. Like, I still might get cut off in traffic, and my instant moment for 2 or 3 seconds might be, are you effing kidding me? And then I breathe. And then I'm like, oh my God, maybe there's a woman giving birth in the car and they need to get to the hospital fast. Yeah. Or maybe they're just unconscious. Maybe they just need a hug. Maybe they had a really awful childhood and an awful day and they just need a hug. So I just send them love. And within a very quick period of time, I'm back into center coherence again. Yeah. So I'm not perfect, but it's possible to have a really awesome life when you live like this.
Allana, your influence has really circled the globe. You are the host of a podcast. You've got 4 best-selling books out. What are you working on next, and what are you working on at the moment that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Oh, you're so sweet. My first thing is that my liver cleanse is over tomorrow. I've had a 3-week liver cleanse, so I'm really excited because I haven't been able to have alcohol, caffeine, sugar, dairy, nothing. No fun. So that's but I do feel really, really healthy, and that's why I did it. So happy about that. I'm on a sabbatical right now for 2.5 months. I'm writing my 5th book. I'm updating my website and developing an intimacy assessment for people so that they can see where they are and have the steps to improve, expand, and evolve in their intimacy. And then there's 2 retreats coming up in 2020 that I'm planning. So lots of big, beautiful changes and expansion.
Very exciting. And if our listeners are interested, and I know they are because you've got so much energy and you have really mastered your craft, I know that there are listeners who are going to resonate with you and with your energy that you're putting out. How can they get in touch with you and learn more about your coaching programs, your retreats, your books, and all the resources that you have available to make their love and their money even better?
That's right. Yes. Thank you. I'd love to give some gifts if I could. So ladies, if you go to my website, allanapratt.com, that's with 2 L's, ALLANAPRATT.com. And then you go /vulnerability, the word of the hour. Vulnerability.
It looks easy enough. Vulnerability, right? Right? It's when you try to put it all together, it is blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Well, there is a complimentary 7-part training to really understand that vulnerability is actually the new sexy, if you ask me. And it shows you that there's a strength in our softness. So I encourage you to go there. And by signing up for that complimentary training, you'll be put into my newsletter and you will get that once a week. And I will love you through all of that. And you'll learn more about my YouTube channel and my podcast and all of that. And gentlemen, if you go to gethertosayyes.com, right there on the front page is another complimentary training called How to Be a Noble Badass. And this world needs more noble badasses. So I think you'll really enjoy that because it speaks of this noble heart and that amazing masculine grandeur of guardianship and protection and providing that a noble man is a gift to women and to the planet. So that will also put you into my newsletter and we'll be able to stay connected. Lastly, if you're like, I actually am interested in coaching itself, you can simply go to my website, allanapratt.com/connect. And that's a way we can have a discounted intro strategy session together to make sure I'm 100% sure that I can give you the results and outcomes you desire before inviting us to work together.
Very exciting. And what I love about you, Allana, is you have not cut yourself off from half of the world's population by only specializing in one gender. And I respect those who do and who focus and specialize in women or in men. But you seem to really, and others have noticed this about you, you seem to have tapped into the energy of both male and female in a way that is synergistic. And so that's really incredible, really powerful. And I so much appreciate you being on the show today. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Well, thank you. And you were pretty wise there about both the masculine and feminine. We all have feminine and masculine energy within us. Our masculine drive and, getting things done and being leaders in our lives. That's very important. But our feminine energy is the one of allowing and receptivity and receiving and being that safe sanctuary for our little you inside, or listening to our heart's whisper. So we all need both of these energies. So thank you. I love working with men and women. And I also have a lot of couples that I work with to support their marriages and thriving. So I would remind all of you, or leave you all with, how could you honor both your masculine and feminine energies inside to be the most synergistic, coherent, harmonious being that you can be for yourself, you can be for your family, for your beloved, and our planet. Thank you so much, Ralph, for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Allana Pratt is a global media personality who awakens open-hearted, unapologetic living after heartbreak. She offers private coaching and retreats to support her clients have thriving intimate relationships with themselves first, which naturally attracts their ideal partnerships. She works with men and with women, as we have learned. So go check her out at allanapratt.com, and I'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well. Allana, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your wisdom with us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my total pleasure, Ralph. Thank you again.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogdon. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.